Admiral Thomas Reed stood tall on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force flagship Defender. His weathered face showed the lines of his 50 years, but his eyes remained sharp and clear. The massive view screen before him displayed the stars, peaceful and quiet for now. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Kate Monroe from her station, "we're picking up strange energy readings at the edge of the solar system." Reed crossed his arms. "Show me." The screen changed to show a patch of seemingly empty space near Neptune's orbit. As they watched, the blackness twisted and bent. A tear opened in space itself. From this strange hole came ships, dozens, then hundreds of alien vessels. "My God," whispered someone on the bridge. Reed kept his face calm, though his heart beat faster. Humanity had been traveling the stars for just under 100 years. They had built colonies on Mars, Europa, and several planets around nearby stars. They had met other aliens before, peaceful traders mostly, with technology about equal to Earth's. But these ships were different. Their hulls shimmered with an unknown metal. They moved with impossible speed, and there were so many of them. "Message coming in," said Kate. "They're broadcasting on all channels, in perfect English." Reed nodded. "Put it through." The screen changed again. Now it showed an alien face. The creature looked somewhat like a tall, thin human, but with gray skin and eyes too large for its face. When it spoke, its mouth moved strangely around the human words. "People of Earth, I am High Commander Vex of the Dominion Fleet. Your planets and colonies now belong to us. Surrender immediately, and some of you may live as our servants. Resist, and we will destroy you all." Reed almost smiled. Almost. The alien's confidence was amusing, in a dark way. "This is Admiral Thomas Reed of the Earth Defense Force. We are a peaceful people, but we will defend ourselves if attacked. I suggest we talk instead." The alien made a sound like rough laughter. "Talk? With primitives? Your ships are toys compared to ours. Your weapons are sticks and stones. We have conquered 100 worlds more advanced than yours." Reed stayed calm. "Then why waste time talking? Why not just attack? We are not monsters, Admiral. We give all worlds a chance to surrender with honor." "I appreciate the courtesy," Reed said, "but we must decline. Earth does not surrender." The alien's face showed anger now. "Then you will die, Admiral. We will begin our attack in 6 Earth hours. Prepare to meet your doom." The screen went dark. Reed turned to his officers. "Sound the alarm. All Earth forces to battle stations." Kate looked worried. "Sir, they're ships. There are at least 500 of them. And our scans show weapons we've never seen before." "Yes," Reed said, "but they don't know what we have either." He walked to a small control panel on his private command station and pressed his hand against it. The panel read his fingerprints and opened to reveal a red button. "Captain Monroe, connect me to all Earth military channels. Top security clearance only." Kate worked quickly. "You're connected, sir." Reed pressed the button. "This is Admiral Reed. Authorization Delta 7 Omega. Activate Protocol Revelation." I repeat, activate Protocol Revelation. All across the solar system, hidden bases came to life. Inside the hollowed-out moons of Jupiter and Saturn, massive hangar doors began to open. Deep within the asteroid belt, what looked like mining stations transformed, revealing weapon ports and engine systems. On Mars, huge sections of the surface slid aside, exposing launch bays that had been hidden for decades. Reed walked back to the main view screen. "Now we wait. Captain Monroe, you have the bridge. I'll be in my quarters preparing our response." In his private room, Reed pulled out an old book from his shelf. It was a paper book, something rare in 2180. The cover read War Strategy Through History. It had been his guide for many years. A knock came at his door. "Enter," he called. Dr. James Wilson walked in. As the fleet's chief science officer, he had been part of Protocol Revelation from the beginning. "Will it work, Thomas?" he asked, using the Admiral's first name as only an old friend could. Reed looked up from his book. "It has to, James. We've been preparing for this day for generations." Wilson nodded. "It's strange, isn't it? For centuries, we wrote stories about alien invasions. We made movies about space wars. We imagined every possible way aliens might attack us. And now it's happening for real," Reed said. "Yes, but we're ready in a way no other species could be," Wilson said. "Our science fiction prepared us. While other worlds focused only on science they could prove, we imagined technologies that might exist. Then we built them." Reed smiled slightly. "The Dominion thinks we're primitive because we show them only what we want them to see. Old ships, simple weapons. They have no idea what's coming." His communicator beeped. "Admiral," Kate's voice came through. "The Hidden Fleet is reporting ready. Over 2,000 ships, sir, all with full crews and loaded weapons." "Excellent," Reed said. "And the Mars defense line?" "Armed and waiting, sir. The orbital platforms are in position. Ground batteries are online." Reed stood up. "I'm returning to the bridge. It's time to show these aliens that Earth isn't as helpless as they think." Back on the bridge, Reed watched as the tactical display showed hundreds of green dots, Earth ships, moving into formation around Mars. The red dots, alien ships, were advancing steadily toward them. "Sir," Kate said, "the Dominion fleet has increased speed. They'll reach Mars orbit in 20 minutes. Send a message to all Earth ships," Reed ordered. "Hold position at Mars. Let them come to us." The bridge crew worked quietly, tension filling the air. On the main screen, they could now see the Dominion ships clearly, sleek, deadly vessels that moved with frightening coordination. "Another message from the Dominion, sir," Kate reported. On screen, High Commander Vex appeared again. His expression showed surprise. "Admiral Reed, it seems you have more ships than we initially detected. Impressive. For humans. But still not enough. This is your final chance to surrender." Reed shook his head. "I'm afraid we must decline again, Commander. In fact, I suggest that you might want to reconsider your attack." The alien laughed. "Brave words from a doomed species. We will." He stopped suddenly, looking at something off-screen. His large eyes grew even wider. Reed smiled. "Ah, I see your sensors are finally showing you the rest of our fleet." "Impossible," Vex whispered. "Where did all these ships come from?" "We've been preparing for this day for a very long time," Reed said simply. "You may be good at conquest, Commander Vex, but humans, we've been imagining this war since before we could fly." Vex's face showed the first traces of fear. "This changes nothing. We will still attack." Reed finished for him. "You can try, but I suggest you look very carefully at what you're facing." The communication ended. Reed turned to his crew. "All ships, battle stations. Prepare to defend Mars. Let's show the Dominion what happens when they threaten Earth." The first shots of the battle were moments away. Humanity was about to face its greatest test. But unlike the countless worlds the Dominion had conquered before, Earth had something special. They had been ready for this moment for centuries. Reed watched the enemy fleet approach, his face calm but determined. The war for humanity's future was about to begin. The Dominion ships moved forward in perfect formation. From the bridge of the Defender, Admiral Reed watched them approach Mars orbit. The red planet hung in space, seemingly unprotected except for a thin line of Earth's older ships. "They still think they have the advantage," Reed said. "They can see some of our hidden fleet now, but not all of it." Captain Kate Monroe nodded. "Their scans are good, but they can't detect our ships inside the asteroid bases or beneath the Martian surface." Reed smiled slightly. "Let's keep it that way until the right moment." On the main screen, the Dominion fleet spread out into attack position. Their ships were beautiful in a deadly way, sleek and sharp, like predators ready to strike. "Message from High Commander Vex. reported the communications officer. Put him through, Reed ordered. Vex's gray face appeared on screen. He looked less confident now, but still determined. Admiral Reed, I see you have more ships than we thought. But it changes nothing. Your technology is still far behind ours. This is your last chance to surrender. Reed shook his head. I think you misunderstand the situation, Commander. This is your last chance to leave our system in peace. Vex made a harsh sound like laughter. Brave words. We will see how brave you are when your ships burn. The screen went dark. All ships, defensive positions, Reed commanded. Wait for my signal before revealing our full capabilities. Across the solar system, Earth's hidden fleet waited. Inside the hollowed asteroids, captains gave final orders to their crews. Beneath the surface of Mars, pilots climbed into their fighters. In the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, massive battleships powered up their engines. Jack Davis, chief engineer of the Earth ship Thunderchild, ran final checks on the ship's special weapons. The Thunderchild looked like an old mining vessel from the outside, but inside it held technology that the Dominion couldn't imagine. All systems ready, Captain, Jack reported to Captain Maria Ortega. The shield is at full power. Gravity weapons are charged. Maria nodded. Good. Admiral Reed says to wait for his signal before we show what we can really do. The first shots came from the Dominion fleet. Bright beams of energy cut across space toward the Earth ships protecting Mars. Some of the older Earth vessels took hits, their shields flaring blue under the assault. They're testing us, Reed said, watching from the Defender. Return fire, conventional weapons only. Earth's frontline ships fired back. Their lasers and missiles seemed ordinary enough, causing minimal damage to the Dominion vessels. High Commander Vex watched from his flagship, the Conqueror. See how weak their weapons are, he told his officers. This will be an easy victory. His second-in-command, Officer Krim, looked less certain. Sir, I don't understand why they refuse to surrender when they can see our superior force. Because humans are stubborn and foolish, Vex replied. Press the attack. Full force. The Dominion fleet surged forward. Hundreds of ships moved toward Mars, weapons firing constantly now. Some Earth vessels took serious damage, but they held their line. On the Defender, Reed watched calmly. They're fully committed to the attack now, he said. Time to show them what humanity can really do. He pressed a button on his command chair. All ships, execute Revelation Phase 2. Across the battlefield, Earth's ships changed. What had seemed like ordinary transport vessels suddenly transformed. Hidden panels slid open to reveal advanced weapon systems. Mining ships dropped their disguises, becoming sleek warships. Jack Davis smiled as he activated the Thunderchild's true power. The ship hummed as its gravity displacement drive came online. Technology that the Dominion believed was centuries beyond human capability. Gravity weapons ready, he reported to Captain Ortega. Target the lead Dominion vessels, she ordered. Fire when ready. The Thunderchild fired, not with lasers or missiles, but with a weapon that manipulated gravity itself. The beam wasn't visible, but its effect was dramatic. 3 Dominion ships suddenly crushed inward as if squeezed by a giant hand. Similar scenes played out across the battlefield as Earth's hidden technology was revealed. Ships that had seemed primitive now moved with impossible speed. Weapons that shouldn't exist tore through Dominion defenses. On the Conqueror, alarms blared. Vex stared at his display in shock. What is happening? He demanded. How do they have this technology? Officer Krim's voice shook as he answered. Unknown, sir. Their ships are using technology we've never seen before. Our scans can't even identify some of their weapons. Impossible. Vex slammed his fist on his command chair. They're a young species. They should be centuries behind us. Another wave of surprises came as the surface of Mars seemed to crack open. From massive hidden hangars, hundreds of small, fast fighters emerged. At the same time, the moons of Jupiter lit up as ships concealed inside them launched. John Parker piloted one of the Mars fighters. His small ship was faster and more maneuverable than anything the Dominion had. "Eagle Squadron, follow me," he called to his fellow pilots. "Target their smaller ships first." The Mars fighters swarmed toward the Dominion fleet like angry bees. They were too small and fast for the aliens' targeting systems. The Dominion ships fired wildly, missing more often than hitting. Admiral Reed watched with satisfaction. "Now for the final surprise," he said. "Launch the Jupiter fleet." From the distant moons of Jupiter, Earth's largest warships appeared. These massive vessels had been hidden for decades, built in secret for this very day. Each one carried weapons that could destroy a small moon. High Commander Vex watched in growing horror as his carefully planned attack fell apart. Dominion ships were being destroyed or damaged faster than he could count. His fleet was in chaos. How is this possible? He demanded of no one in particular. Where did they get this technology? Officer Krim had no answer. The humans were using strategies and technologies that should have been impossible for them. It was as if they had known exactly what the Dominion would do before they did it. On the Defender, Admiral Reed stood tall as he watched the battle unfold. "Captain Monroe," he said, "send a message to Commander Vex." Kate nodded and opened a channel. Vex's face appeared on screen, now showing clear signs of stress and fear. "What do you want, Admiral?" he asked, his voice tight. Reed spoke calmly. "I want to give you one more chance to retreat, Commander. Take your remaining ships and leave our solar system. Tell your leaders that Earth is not to be threatened again." Vex's large eyes narrowed. "How did you do this? How did you hide such technology from our scans?" Reed smiled slightly. "Humanity has been preparing for this day for centuries, Commander. While you were conquering peaceful worlds, we were getting ready for someone like you to find us." Vex had no response. The screen went dark again. "They're pulling back," Kate reported, watching her tactical display. "The Dominion fleet is retreating to Neptune's orbit." Reed nodded. "Have our ships hold position. Don't pursue yet." He turned to look at the main screen, where the battle continued but was clearly turning in Earth's favor. "This is only the beginning," he said quietly. "They'll be back, and with more ships next time. But for now, humanity had won the first round. The Dominion had learned a painful lesson. Earth was not the easy target they had expected. The war had just begun, but already the enemy could feel the inevitable draw near. The Dominion fleet regrouped near Neptune. High Commander Vex paced the bridge of his flagship, the Conqueror. His thin gray face was twisted with anger and confusion. "How could they hide such technology?" he demanded. "Our scouts watched Earth for years before we attacked." Officer Krim stood nervously nearby. "The humans must have known we were watching, sir. They showed us only what they wanted us to see." Vex stopped pacing. "We still outnumber them. And now we know they have advanced weapons. We won't be surprised again." He turned to his tactical officer. "Prepare all ships for a full attack. This time we hit them with everything we have." Back at Mars, Admiral Reed called a meeting of his top officers aboard the Defender. Captain Kate Monroe, Captain Maria Ortega of the Thunderchild, and John Parker, who led the Mars fighter squadrons, gathered in the ship's war room. "The Dominion is regrouping," Reed told them, pointing to a holographic map of the solar system. "They'll attack again soon, and this time they'll be ready for some of our technology." "But not all of it," Maria said with a small smile. Reed nodded. "Exactly. We still have surprises for them." He looked at each officer. "This is what humanity has prepared for since we first looked at the stars and wondered if we were alone. Not just with weapons, but with strategy." John Parker leaned forward. "What's the plan, Admiral?" "The Dominion fights like a hammer," Reed said, "direct and powerful. But we've studied thousands of battle scenarios over centuries. Our fiction writers imagined alien wars long before we reached space. We've thought of tactics no other species would consider." He touched the holographic display. and it changed to show Mars and its surrounding space. We'll use the Mars Orbital Defense Plan. Captain Ortega, your ship, and the other gravity weapon vessels will form the outer ring. Captain Monroe will coordinate our standard fleet in the middle ring. And John, your fighters will wait until the Dominion commits fully to the attack. Kate Monroe studied the plan. They'll expect us to defend Earth, not make our stand at Mars. Exactly, Reed said. They think like conquerors, take the homeworld, and the war is over. But humans think differently. We'll defend each part of our system as if it were Earth itself. As they finished planning, alerts sounded throughout the ship. The Dominion fleet is moving, announced the communications officer. They're coming in fast, sir. Reed nodded to his officers. To your ships. Remember, humanity is counting on you. The Dominion attack came like a storm. Hundreds of alien ships surged toward Mars, weapons firing as they approached. This time, they didn't bother with demands for surrender. They'd come to destroy. Earth's ships formed their defensive rings around Mars. The Thunderchild and other ships with gravity weapons made up the outer ring. The main fleet formed a tight formation in the middle ring, and hidden on the far side of Mars, John Parker and his fighters waited. They're trying a different approach, Kate reported from her station on the Defender, breaking into smaller attack groups. Reed nodded. They're learning. But so are we. He opened a communication channel to all Earth ships. Execute Deception Pattern Alpha. Across the battlefield, Earth's ships began to move in what looked like confusion. Some appeared to retreat. Others moved out of formation. To the Dominion, it looked like the Earth fleet was breaking apart under pressure. The humans are panicking, Vex said with satisfaction. Press the attack. Target their command ships first. The Dominion fleet surged forward, sensing victory. They pushed past the seemingly scattered outer ring of Earth ships and headed straight for the middle ring. That's when Admiral Reed sprung the trap. All ships, execute hammer and anvil, he ordered. The Earth ships that had appeared to retreat suddenly turned and attacked the Dominion fleet from behind. At the same time, the middle ring of ships closed in. The Dominion fleet was caught between two powerful forces. On the Thunderchild, Jack Davis monitored the gravity weapons. Ready to fire, Captain, he told Maria Ortega. Target their largest ships, she ordered. Fire at will. The Thunderchild and the other ships in the outer ring fired their gravity weapons. Invisible beams distorted space itself around the Dominion vessels. Some were crushed by sudden gravitational forces. Others were thrown off course, colliding with their own ships. High Commander Vex watched in horror as his fleet was caught in the human trap. How did they know? He shouted. How could they predict our attack? Sir, Krim reported, his voice shaking, they're using our own momentum against us. Our ships can't maneuver out of this formation. Vex slammed his fist on his command chair. All ships, break formation, scatter, and regroup. But it was too late. As the Dominion ships tried to escape the trap, Admiral Reed gave his final order. John Parker, you're clear to attack. From behind Mars, hundreds of human fighter ships appeared. They were small and fast, nearly impossible for the larger Dominion ships to target. The fighters swarmed around the alien vessels like angry insects, firing precisely at vulnerable points. John Parker led his squadron toward one of the largest Dominion ships. Target their engine systems, he told his pilots. 3 hits in the same spot will break through their shields. The fighters attacked with perfect coordination. They'd practiced this maneuver hundreds of times in simulation. To the Dominion, it seemed impossible that small ships could move with such precision. What the aliens didn't know was that humans had been imagining space battles for centuries. Every possible scenario had been explored in fiction, then in simulation, long before the first human ship left Earth's atmosphere. On the Conqueror, systems were failing as fighter ships targeted critical areas. We've lost 30% of the fleet, Officer Krim reported. We can't maintain battle formation. Vex stared at the tactical display in disbelief. His perfect attack had turned into a disaster. "Order all ships to retreat," he said finally. "We need to regroup and reconsider our approach." As the remaining Dominion ships turned to flee, Admiral Reed watched from the Defender. "Do we pursue?" Kate asked. Reed shook his head. "No, let them go for now. They need time to understand what they're really facing." The Earth ships held position as the Dominion fleet retreated. This time, they fled beyond Neptune, back toward the edge of the solar system. "We won't have long," Reed said. "They'll call for reinforcements." Kate looked at the damage reports coming in. Earth had lost ships too, but far fewer than the Dominion. "Do you think they'll give up, sir?" Reed smiled slightly. "No, but neither will we." He looked at the display showing Mars, still safe under Earth's protection. This was just the beginning. The real battle is yet to come. Across the solar system, Earth's colonies received news of the victory. People celebrated, but they knew the war wasn't over. Humanity had surprised the Dominion twice now. The next time would be even harder. But humans had one advantage that the Dominion couldn't understand. They had been preparing for this war long before the first alien ship appeared. In their movies, their books, their games, humans had fought this battle 1,000 times. They were ready in a way no other species could be. 3 days after the Battle of Mars, Admiral Reed stood in the Earth Defense Force headquarters on Luna, Earth's moon. Large screens showed the positions of both human and Dominion ships throughout the solar system. The Dominion fleet had retreated to the outer edges, near Pluto. "They're waiting for something," Reed said to Dr. James Wilson, who stood beside him. Wilson nodded. "Reinforcements, most likely. Our long-range sensors detected signals leaving their fleet right after the battle. They've called for help." Reed studied the screens. The Dominion still had over 300 ships. Earth had won 2 battles, but had lost ships too. If the Dominion brought more forces, the next fight would be much harder. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Mike Thompson from the communication station, "we're picking up something strange. More ships are entering the system, but they're not Dominion vessels." Reed turned quickly. "Show me." The main screen changed to show the edge of the solar system. New ships were appearing there, emerging from what looked like tiers in space itself. But these ships were different from the Dominion vessels. They were rounder, with smooth hulls that shimmered with a blue-green light. "There are at least 100 of them," Thompson reported, "and they're positioning themselves between the Dominion fleet and Earth." "Are they hostile?" Reed asked. "Unknown, sir. They're not approaching either us or the Dominion. They're just waiting." Wilson studied the new ships with interest. "I've never seen designs like that. They're beautiful." Reed nodded. "But are they friends or enemies? That's the question." He turned to Thompson. "Any communication from them?" "Nothing yet, sir." "Wait." Thompson touched his earpiece. "We're receiving a signal now. It's being broadcast on all frequencies." "Put it through," Reed ordered. The screen changed to show an alien face. This one was different from the Dominion. It had blue-tinted skin and large, gentle eyes. When it spoke, its voice was musical, almost like singing. "People of Earth, I am Director Lorne of the Galactic Consortium. We have been observing your conflict with the Dominion. We wish to speak with you." Reed stepped forward. "This is Admiral Thomas Reed of the Earth Defense Force. We are open to discussion, Director Lorne." The alien smiled, or at least made a facial expression that seemed like a smile. "We have been watching humanity for many years, Admiral. From a distance, of course. We did not wish to interfere with your natural development. But now you're here," Reed said. "May I ask why?" "The Dominion," Lorne replied. "They are known to us. They have conquered many worlds, always targeting young species who have just reached the stars. We have opposed them when possible, but they are powerful and aggressive." Reed nodded. "We've noticed. When they entered your system, we expected to witness another quick conquest. But instead, Lorne made a gesture that might have been surprise or admiration. Instead, we saw something we have never seen before. You defeated them. Twice. With technology and tactics that should be beyond your capabilities. We prepared, Reed said simply. Yes, that is what fascinates us. Lorne leaned closer to the screen. Most species develop space travel and then encounter others. But humans, you imagined space travel and alien contact long before you achieved it. You prepared for scenarios that had not yet happened. Wilson stepped forward. We call it science fiction. It's been part of our culture for centuries. Lorne nodded. We have studied your transmissions, your stories, your movies. You imagined every possible way that first contact might occur. You created thousands of potential scenarios for alien interactions, both peaceful and hostile. And when the Dominion arrived, Reed added, we were ready for them. Exactly, Lorne said. This is why we have come. The Dominion has called for reinforcements. Their main fleet will arrive within days. Hundreds more ships, Admiral. Perhaps thousands. Reed's face remained calm, but his eyes showed concern. We'll fight them too. You might win, Lorne said. Your preparation and innovation are impressive, but the cost would be terrible. The alien paused. That is why we wish to offer an alternative. We're listening, Reed said. The consortium has long opposed the Dominion's conquests, but we favor diplomacy over war when possible. With your permission, we would like to position our fleet alongside yours. Not to fight your battles, but to show the Dominion that you are not alone. Reed considered this, a show of force rather than actual combat. Yes, Lorne confirmed. The Dominion respects strength above all else. If they see that Earth has powerful allies, they may reconsider their attack. Reed looked at Wilson, who nodded slightly. We accept your offer, Director Lorne, but know that we will continue to prepare for battle. Earth will not surrender, no matter how many ships the Dominion brings. Lorne made that almost smile again. We would expect nothing less from humans. The screen went dark. Can we trust them? Kate Monroe asked. She had been standing quietly at the back of the room. Reed turned to her. We don't have much choice, but keep our ships at full alert. The consortium may be friendly, but that could change. Over the next 2 days, the consortium fleet moved closer to Earth. They positioned their 100 ships in a line between Mars and Jupiter, creating a barrier that any attacking force would have to pass. The Dominion noticed. High Commander Vex called an emergency meeting on his flagship. Who are these newcomers? He demanded of his intelligence officer. The Galactic Consortium. Sir, the officer replied. They control many systems on the far side of our territory. We've had disagreements with them before. Vex paced the room. Are they allies of the humans? Unknown, sir, but they've positioned their fleet to defend Earth. Vex stopped pacing. Our reinforcements will arrive soon. We'll have over 1,000 ships. We can defeat both the humans and this consortium. Officer Krim spoke up. Sir, with respect, the humans have surprised us twice now, and the consortium ships appear to be highly advanced. Perhaps we should consider a diplomatic approach. Vex glared at him. The Dominion does not negotiate with lesser species. But sir, Krim insisted, these humans, they're not like other species we've encountered. Their technology, their tactics, it's as if they've fought us before. Nonsense, Vex snapped. They're just lucky. And luck eventually runs out. Back on Luna, Reed received an update from the long-range sensors. Sir, reported Mike Thompson, we're detecting more ships entering the system. Many more. Reed watched as the screen showed hundreds of new Dominion vessels arriving near Pluto. They joined the existing fleet, creating an armada that stretched across the screen. Over 1,200 ships now, Thompson said, his voice tight. Reed's face remained calm, but his eyes showed the weight of responsibility. Alert all Earth Defense Forces and contact Director Lorne. It's time to see if the consortium's diplomatic approach will work. As Reed gave orders, Dr. Wilson stood nearby, watching the screen. It all comes down to this, he said quietly. Everything we've prepared for, all our hidden technology and tactics. Will it be enough? Reed looked at his old friend. It has to be, James, because there's one thing the Dominion still doesn't understand about humans. What's that? Wilson asked. We don't just fight to win, Reed said, his eyes fixed on the massive enemy fleet on the screen. We fight to survive. And nothing in the galaxy is more dangerous than a species fighting for its survival. The final confrontation was about to begin. Earth, with its unexpected ally, would soon face the full might of the Dominion. The fate of humanity hung in the balance. The massive Dominion fleet moved slowly toward Earth. Over 1,200 ships formed a wall of metal and energy that seemed unstoppable. High Commander Vex stood proudly on the bridge of his flagship, the Conqueror. The humans have fought well, he told his officers, but no species can stand against the full might of the Dominion. Today, Earth falls. Officer Krim looked less certain. Sir, the humans have surprised us before, and now they have the consortium as allies. Vex waved away his concern. The consortium has only 100 ships, and the humans, while clever, are still a young species. Our numbers will overwhelm them. As the Dominion fleet approached Jupiter's orbit, they slowed. Ahead, they could see the Earth ships and consortium vessels positioned in a defensive formation. They were far fewer in number, but they held their position without fear. Admiral Reed stood on the bridge of the Defender, now the center of Earth's main battle group. Captain Kate Monroe worked at her station, coordinating with the other Earth ships. The Dominion fleet will be in weapons range in 20 minutes, she reported. Reed nodded. And our final preparations? Complete, sir. All ships report ready. The special weapon is charged and waiting for your command. Reed looked at the main screen, where the massive enemy fleet grew larger by the minute. Open a channel to Director Lorne. The blue-skinned alien appeared on a side screen. Admiral Reed, the moment of truth approaches. Indeed, Reed said. Are your ships ready? We are prepared, Lorne replied. But I still hope that a display of our combined strength will convince the Dominion to reconsider. Reed smiled slightly. We'll soon find out. He paused. Director, whatever happens today, Earth appreciates your support. Lorne made that expression that resembled a smile. It is we who should thank you, Admiral. For centuries, the consortium has opposed the Dominion's conquests, but we have never found a true ally in that struggle. Until now. The communication ended. Reed turned to his crew. Open a channel to all Earth and consortium ships. Kate nodded. Channel open. Sir. Reed stood tall. This is Admiral Reed. Today we face the full might of the Dominion. They believe that their numbers guarantee victory. They do not understand what they're truly facing. He paused, looking around at his crew. Humanity has imagined this day for centuries. In our stories, our films, our games, we have fought this battle 1,000 times. We are ready in a way that no species has ever been before. He continued, his voice strong and clear. Fight with everything you have. Fight for Earth, for our colonies, for the future of humanity. Execute Battle Plan Omega on my command. The communication ended. Reed turned to Kate. Now, open a channel to the Dominion flagship. On the Conqueror, High Commander Vex was surprised to receive the human communication. Put it through, he ordered. Admiral Reed's face appeared on his screen. High Commander Vex, this is your final opportunity to withdraw from our system peacefully. Vex laughed. Admiral, you have fought bravely, but surely you can see the reality of your situation. My fleet outnumbers yours more than 10 to 1. Numbers aren't everything, Commander, Reed replied calmly. You still don't understand what you're facing. Enlighten me, Vex said with a sneer. Humanity has been preparing for this moment since before we left our atmosphere, Reed explained. Our greatest minds imagined every possible scenario for alien contact, including invasion. We built our ships, our weapons, our tactics based on centuries of thinking about this very day. Vex shook his head. Imagination cannot defeat reality. Admiral. That's where you're wrong, Reed said. For humans, imagination shapes reality. It drives us to create things that shouldn't be possible. He paused. One last chance, Commander. League in peace. Never, Vex replied. Prepare to be conquered. He cut the communication. Reed turned to his crew. All ships, execute Battle Plan Omega. Across the combined human and consortium fleet, ships began to move in perfect coordination. But instead of forming a defensive line, they split into dozens of small groups, each taking up a seemingly random position. On the Conqueror, Vex watched in confusion. What are they doing? This makes no sense. Krim studied the tactical display. Sir, they appear to be positioning themselves at specific points in space. I don't understand the pattern. It doesn't matter, Vex said dismissively. Begin the attack. All ships, advance. The massive Dominion fleet surged forward. But as they moved, the Earth and consortium ships remained in their strange formation, not firing a single shot. Why aren't they shooting? Krim asked. Vex smiled. They've given up. They know they can't win. He turned to his weapons officer. Target their flagship. Let's end this quickly. As the Dominion fleet reached the midpoint between Jupiter and Mars, Reed gave his final order. Activate the gravity web. In an instant, every Earth ship with gravity weapons fired simultaneously. But they didn't target the Dominion ships directly. Instead, their invisible beams connected with each other, forming a complex web of gravitational distortion throughout the battlefield. Space itself seemed to bend and twist. The Dominion ships suddenly found themselves fighting against impossible forces. Some were pulled together, crashing into each other. Others were pushed apart, their formations breaking. The carefully organized fleet became a chaotic mess in seconds. What's happening? Vex shouted as his own ship shuddered and alarms blared. Krim stared at his instruments in disbelief. They've created some kind of gravitational distortion field. It's affecting our entire fleet. From the Defender, Reed watched as the first phase of the plan worked perfectly. Now all fighter squadrons attack the disabled vessels. Cruisers target their command ships. Earth's smaller ships surged forward, attacking the now disorganized Dominion fleet with precision. The consortium ships joined them, adding their advanced weapons to the assault. On the Conqueror, systems were failing as the gravity web disrupted everything from engines to weapons. We're losing control of the fleet, Krim reported, his voice shaking. Our ships can't coordinate their movements or weapons. Vex watched in horror as his perfect battle plan collapsed. Hundreds of his ships were already damaged or destroyed, and the rest were struggling to fight back effectively. How? He whispered. How could they do this? The battle lasted just 3 hours. By the end, half the Dominion fleet was destroyed or disabled. The rest had retreated to the edge of the solar system once again, too damaged to continue fighting. On the Defender, Reed received the message he'd been waiting for. Sir, Kate reported, the Dominion flagship is hailing us. Put it through, Reed ordered. High Commander Vex appeared on screen. His uniform was torn, and smoke could be seen in the background of his ship. Admiral Reed, he said, his voice hoarse. I request a ceasefire. Reed nodded. Granted, Commander. Do you wish to discuss terms? For a moment, Vex said nothing. Then, how did you do it? You're a young species. You should be centuries behind us technologically. I told you before, Reed replied. We've been preparing for this day for generations. Our fiction, our imagination, gave us an advantage no other species had. Vex finally understood. You imagined us before you met us. Yes, Reed confirmed. In 1,000 different forms, in 1,000 different stories. And in each one, we learned something about how to fight, How to survive. Vex lowered his head. The Dominion will withdraw from your system. Admiral, you have won. As the communication ended, Reed turned to his crew. They were tired but triumphant. Send word to Earth and all colonies, he ordered. The Dominion has been defeated. That evening, Reed met with Director Lorne aboard the Consortium flagship. The alien greeted him warmly. A remarkable victory, Admiral. Your species continues to surprise us. Reed smiled. We surprised ourselves too, from time to time. Lorne looked thoughtful. The Dominion will not quickly forget this defeat. It may change how they approach other young species in the future. I hope so, Reed said. And what about the Consortium? What happens now? Now. Lorne's eyes sparkled. Now we talk about the future. Earth has proven itself a worthy ally. The Consortium would like to propose a formal agreement between our peoples. An alliance? Reed asked. More than that, Lorne said. A partnership. There is much we can learn from each other. The alien paused. Especially from your science fiction. This concept fascinates us. Reed smiled. I think that can be arranged. As Reed looked out at the stars from the Consortium ship, he thought about humanity's journey. From cave drawings to space travel, humans had always looked up and wondered what was out there. They had imagined the best and prepared for the worst. And when the worst came, they were ready. Earth was safe. The enemy had taken one look at Earth's fleet and felt the inevitable draw near.